Welcome to A Transformed Life, the podcast where we alchemize our ashes into art, transform our pain into power and peace. I'm Hope Rose, your hope dealer, inspirational guide, and storyteller in this podcast. Each week, we dive into inspirational stories of transcending our grief, how to navigate custody battles with peace, transform our trauma into triumph, and what seems like a mess into a magnificent masterpiece. Together, we'll foster transformation, resilience, and guide you in claiming personal responsibility for your story. Our stories offer hope, encouragement, and community support, guiding you toward better health and wellness. Join me as we discover actionable ways to leverage our struggles, find healing, and rise like a phoenix. Tune in to discover your power, your divinity, and learn how to embrace your story so that it can serve others on their transformational journey. Hello, friends. Welcome back to A Transformed Life podcast. Whether this is your first time joining me or if you've listened to all the episodes, welcome. I am so glad you are here. As I record this episode, we have just come off an election week in the States, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit. I will give you a visit update near the end of this podcast and a few other things that are kind of on my heart for this episode. So there was a comment on a social media platform this week, and it was a single mother who is, I guess it wasn't a comment, it was a post that she had made. And the post was, I'm, rebuilding my life. I envisioned that, I would have a happy husband. I could homeschool my kids. We would have a happy, healthy family. I could do all the things, live how I always envisioned my life to be. Kind of the, 2.5 kids, the white picket fence, the dream that we have all kind of been sold. And as I was reflecting on her post and reflecting on my life and where I am at personally, as I speak to you, as I sit here and record this episode, I had this thought download to me. We live the life we've been given, not the life we wanted. And in my personal journey, I envisioned a completely different life than the one I am currently living. And I think that is maybe true for so many people, whether, you're a single mother, single parent, single father, widowed, widower, like the life we've been given is the life we must live. And when I say given, it's what our soul came here to experience, to expand, to evolve. Yes, 3 E words there. And it is painful. I envisioned my life completely different, raising, a number of children in a happy, healthy environment on many acres of fresh farmland where we, grow our own food, where we, free range our lifestyle. There is a respectful husband and father of my children. We have our own business. We transform the world together. We live in harmony. There's, it's free of abuse and neglect, and, it's a healthy, healed home. That is not my reality. And for so many people, I bet you can relate as well. Your life today is not where you pictured it. And it's really, I think there's some I'm always cautious to give steps because life is not a step process, but I'll give a few pointers for consideration. I think one point I will offer for you is to grieve the life you wanted. And there's something in my life right now that I really wanted as well. And it's not going to happen. And I have been going through that grieving, death, burying process. And it's difficult. Unhealed trauma is ego. And so I'm always careful to talk about ego in a very kind of respectful way. Ego needs to be treated with respect and reverence and acknowledged, not ignored, because our ego is always there to kind of guide us back home of like, oh, this is triggering for me. How can I transform this? What is, causing this trigger? What is causing this, this response, this reaction? How can I use it for my betterment? And so I think, acknowledging the life you wanted versus the life you've been given. Give yourself the dignity of having that grief process. And, really, really tapping into that, let the emotions flow. Give yourself permission to cry. Give yourself permission to be angry, to feel whatever it is that you need, that you really want to feel. Because when we suppress our emotions, then that gets stuck in the body. And then we have, stress-related, illnesses, diseases, dis-ease, 2 words, it's hyphenated word, dis-ease. We have relationship problems. And life can really go downhill very quickly if we don't express our emotions in a healthy, safe manner and give ourselves that experience. And so if you are in this same kind of place where the life you thought you were going to have, maybe somebody died. Maybe there was, maybe there's an illness in your family. Maybe you yourself are going through an illness. You didn't think you're going to have cancer. You didn't think you're going to have heart issues. You didn't think you're going to, have an injury, like a significant injury that's, altered your life. And these things can be really devastating and difficult to manage, to kind of walk through. And so I share these insights from my own journey with the life I envisioned is not the life I've been given. And so wanted to kind of, talk with you about this today. I think the second thing, when you're processing grief is to journal. Writing can be super helpful. I really recommend doing it with pen or, pencil, paper, and really letting your, one of the things I say is, when the pen flows, the soul becomes free. And when you do it habitually every day, you really kind of get into the groove of just letting your soul become free via words on paper. If you need or, want to type on computer, that's okay. I really do recommend the more tangible way though, pen and paper, like a journal, and just let your words flow. And it doesn't have to make sense. Nobody's going to read it. It's for you to kind of process and get some of that energy out. Another tool that you could also implement is freeform painting. So just get like a big sheet of paper, get some paints, put on some ethereal music, and let your body kind of sway as you dance with the paintbrush in your hand on the paper. And that is a way to kind of move energy out of the body. And, I mentioned this a few minutes ago, but, really giving yourself permission to cry, expressing emotion and, doing a clearing process is extremely helpful. Even writing a letter to the life that you wanted from like a higher perspective can be very helpful. And that is a very clearing process as well. I think the other thing to, remember when we are going through difficult times is to really be mindful if we are throwing what I call spiritual temper tantrums. And I'll touch on this in a little bit too, regarding the election this week in the States. And I have certainly had my fair share of spiritual temper tantrums when I don't get what I want. It is very difficult to kind of pivot to, okay, my soul is asking for something else. It's super painful. It's not what I want to do. I really wanted this one thing. I really wanted, ABC. It is not happening. And that is the moment for opportunity to really recognize that pattern of what happens when I don't get what I want, and to really, pull myself out of that spiral and acknowledge, okay, this is not happening the way I envisioned, the way I desired. How can I grow from this? What tools do I have to elevate myself, elevate my consciousness? And this is, a lot where the mindset comes in, of having just a resilient mindset of, yes, I am acknowledging that this is painful. I'm acknowledging that this is not what I want. And I'm acknowledging that where I want to go and the feelings associated with where I want to go, do those line up? And temper tantrums don't necessarily align with abundance and gratefulness and gratitude and love and joy. And so working really hard to pivot to that channel, our spiritual radio, and tapping in very deep to our inner soul and just saying, what, universe, source, I need your hands to guide me out of this dark place, because I don't want to be here. I want to be in alignment with where you want me to go. And I'm really hurting right now, and I need compassion. I need empathy. I need to know it's going to be okay. And so, really speaking to the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, can be a very powerful practice as well. And, really acknowledging that where you are in life right now is, it doesn't have to be the end of your story. You're still writing your story. You're still the author of your chapters, and other people may have sentences in them, but they don't get to author your book. You are the masterpiece. You are the one that brings joy and love and hope into the world. And so remember that whatever you are going through, even though it's dark and it's, not what you want right now, just remember the hope. Hope rose out of the ashes. Phoenix rising from the ashes. And even in our darkest days, there's always that little light flickering. And sometimes that little light flickering might be someone else lending their hand to say, hey, walk with me. We will get through this. Maybe someone was that for you, and maybe you are that for somebody else. In regards to spiritual temper tantrums, I have been quite astounded this week by social media on how many self-identified spiritual people have been spinning out of control regarding the election and who won. They are throwing a complete hissy fit. Some of the temper tantrums I have seen online for some of these people that call themselves spiritual, it was very eye-opening. And what downloaded to me is we as a species, as humanity, we have a lot of evolving to do. We have a lot of growth, a lot of healing, because when people are so triggered and they claim to have done the work, but yet they are still spewing out a lot of hate, fear, terrified words, just, very low vibration, very low frequency energy. And that is not what our soul has come here to do. Our soul has come here to expand to the highest point of consciousness. And so it has been very eye-opening to see these, spiritual people who, they call themselves spiritual, and the temper tantrums that they are throwing is really astounding. And so I guess my observation and, my insight on all of this is that we as a country have a lot of healing to do yet. And when a society doesn't get their way, what happens? When a human doesn't get their way, what happens? This is why abuse is so easily perpetuated, because when an abuser doesn't get their way, they usually up-level their abuse. And so it is a good reminder. It is a check. It's a check of our systems. When I don't get my way, how do I react? What pattern am I repeating? Where do I need to heal? And how can I look at this from a higher point of view? And Dr. Bradley Campbell, I believe, he had a really good Instagram reel this week, suggesting using The Work by Byron Katie. If you're not familiar with her, I highly recommend checking her out. But it's just a series of kind of questions. And these questions really help you unravel the story you are telling yourself. So be it about the election, be it about a breakup, be it about any situation, any person, place, or thing that you can think of. This practice, these, set of questions can help you unravel and really elevate your own life. And so I highly recommend checking out The Work by Byron Katie. And ask yourself, what if this is for the highest good of all? How do I know this is so detrimental to society? You don't know what's up ahead. All we know is right here, right now. And the media has so brainwashed so many people into fear-mongering. The world is going to end. Everything is going to be, doom and gloom. You're going to lose your rights. And when you really look into things, that is not actually the truth. And so a lot of humans are very quick to just jump onto whatever the TV told them to believe, instead of thinking how to believe, what to believe. And this is one of the issues I take up with, education. They don't teach you, what to think. They teach you how to think. You can only think this way. Well, that is not a very elevated state of consciousness way of being. When we learn different ways to learn different things, let's take learning math, for example. If we just learn math from a textbook, that might work for person A. Person B might learn it through baking and measuring cups and teaspoons. There's so many different ways to learn one thing. There's different perspectives. And even if a person prefers a textbook way of learning, there's still different avenues to bring into that textbook. We just don't learn from one source. We gather our sources that are not censored, that are not canceled, and we use our common sense as well. So yeah, common sense, something that's not been canceled, and something that's not been censored. A lot of information these days, life-saving information, has been censored. And, I am really excited for the change that is coming to our land, particularly in the area of health and our children, and heal generations in our soil. When we heal our soil and when we heal our souls, that is where total transformation happens, because our souls and soil are very closely linked together. We have the same microbiome makeup in healthy soil as we do in our body. That's why like soil-based probiotics are so good. And so we are one with the earth. And when we heal the soil, our soil has been so depleted, so destroyed, so demolished, so disrespected. When we start to heal our soil and when we begin to heal our souls, we see heaven on earth. And I'm super excited about that. And that is what our future generations are really begging us for. Our children want a healed lineage from trauma, from pesticides, synthetic pesticides, from all these, additives and chemicals in our food and in our pharmaceuticals and, just in our general system. So anyway, that is some of what is on my heart. I got a few minutes left. Wanted to give you a little update on the latest video visit with my son. It happened a few nights ago, and it's always good to see him. He is being coached by the people that he lives with, namely his father and the woman that is there as well. So that is definitely concerning. It was really kind of heartbreaking. The woman was saying something to my son, and my son is 6. And he said, "Are you mad at me? Who's mad at me?" And I wanted to just reach through the camera, the video, and, hug him and assure him that everything is okay. How can I help you? No one is mad at you. So he has a lot of trauma to heal from and heal through. And I'm looking forward to the day where he has all the healing that I've received, and he can have that for himself as well. The visit got cut short again. It was about 24 minutes. There's still interference from the other party on these visits. And so I am navigating them to the best of my ability. I do have a visit booked to go see him actually in a couple of weeks. So I'm very excited about that, to actually see my son in person, face to face for the first time in over 2.5 years. So that will be a very pivotal day in our story, in our transformation. And so I'm really looking forward to that as well. And, I'm just so grateful for, there's movement in this, court case, and there's a lot of things I can't necessarily say right now because of the ongoing legal issues. So I will end with this, whatever you are going through, I understand. I understand what it's like to have disappointments. I understand what it's like to cry in bed at night and you're alone. I understand the grief that you might be experiencing with the life you thought you wanted and the life you've been given are two very different things. I understand having your children ripped away from you, whether that's, through a situation like mine or even just 50-50, it's still, as a mother, it's a very difficult, journey to navigate when you're not with your children and you imagined that you would be with them, the majority of the time, that you would, have them in your care as a 2-parent household. And that might not be your reality right now. So I understand. And I offer you compassion and so much grace and so much love and so much healing. If you want to reach out, you know how to reach me. I'm at Hope Rose on Instagram, Hope Rose Speaks, or actually hoperosespeaks.com, Hope Rose Speaks on Instagram as well. And yeah, if you need any support, a listening ear, I am here for you. And, as a community, we get through these really tough times together. And I believe, that when we stand by each other in our darkest days, that's when we rise together so we can live our brightest days. And I will end with that. I will see you next week with another update, with some more thoughts. And if you want to have a coaching session free of charge to be aired on this podcast, go to the link in the show notes below to apply, and we will do a free coaching session. It's just audio only, so no video. We will be on video when we record, but the video won't be uploaded to any YouTube platform. And if you're looking for some kind of clarity, some peace, some alignment in your life, I would love to have a session with you and see what magic we can transform in our time together, and give you some tools and resources and support for your transformation journey wherever you are, whether that's, personal, relational, entrepreneurial, or business. I have a lot of insight to share with you and to guide you on your path as well. All right, I will see you next time. Have a beautiful day. Peace. Thank you so much for listening to a Transformed Life podcast. If you got something out of today's episode, please take a screenshot and share it on social media with your takeaway. And don't forget to tag us at Hope Rose Speaks. Have a beautiful day.